So let me ask y'all, boys, y'all consider yourselves happy?
Yeah,
Yep.
I guess so. I mean, things ain't perfect. The economy is all jacked up. A lot of people don't lost their jobs and got the virus going around, but I just try to stay grateful. Things aren't perfect, but I'm in a pretty good position compared to a lot of people, so I'm grateful. What about y'all? How y'all feel?
Well, y'all go ahead. Actually, y'all go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm good. I'm happy. I got life. Still
Yeah, same.
working
Grateful.
towards goals. So hey,
Yeah.
All right, okay, cool. On your the way you see life, like how high is your happiness scale? If you had to rate happiness, like your happiness, how would you rate it?
I'm at like a 7.5.
No, no.
Things.
Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. Like, how important is it to be happy to you? Like, do you feel like because how do I explain? Like, most people they value like love. Most people value friendships. Most people value like money. Like, how is happiness valued? Like, how would you scale it if possible?
Peace of mind is one of the most important things to me. So I value peace of mind, and I have peace of mind. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm controlling the things that I can control. If it is like if I can go for a run, if I can do a little exercise, and right now I can't do everything with my hand in the splint, but I do what I can do. I can control what I can control, and that helps me to be a little bit better.
For me, to answer your original question, I am happy. I'm not generally content because of where I see myself in my life personally and where I'd like to be in my life. And then to answer your question on scaling it for happiness, I would say I'm probably like a 6 or a 7 when it comes to happiness. Because sometimes my happiness is tied into whether I'm content or not, but sometimes it's not.
But what does that mean?
Makes
Like your happiness is tied into whether you're content.
Well, so sometimes it is. And what I mean by that is this. When things are not going the way I want them to be, like my life goals, sometimes that can bring down my happiness. So I've had
Right.
several depressive times in my life. And yeah, obviously during those times I wasn't happy. But at the same time, while going through those things, something joyous occurred, like Mike getting married. So his
Yeah.
wedding, that's one of the most fun times of my life. I was extremely happy. It was like
In
from
that instance, yeah.
yeah, extremely happy, and I wasn't thinking about the things that I was going
All
through.
the other shit, yeah.
But for people who have gone through depression, sometimes they're not able to do that. They're not able to
Make it through.
yeah, they're not able to
Yeah.
compartmentalize and say, "Hey, you know what? I could be happy in this scenario. Like not only am I happy for that person, but I can actually be happy because I think that those are also two different things."
Yeah. Makes sense. I think that like that happiness is as a construct in itself. Like I think you were saying like sometimes some people are like dependent on it. Like they like yo, if I'm not happy, I'm going to. That's how I value it. Let me put it that way. Like if I'm doing anything, if it doesn't like make me happy or make me feel happy, like I just won't do it. Like I just be like
I feel you. So for me, I don't necessarily need to be happy to do things. I put on a face where it's like, okay, I know I don't want to do this, but for productivity's sake or to make somebody else happy, I could pretend or put on a face. And I know that's not everybody, but that's certainly something that I
Yeah.
do, especially for family, close friends,
I
at
could
work.
agree with that.
so I got a question.
What's up?
It's kind of on the subject, but have any of you guys ever gone through like depression?
Hell yeah. Been depressed a lot, man.
What
Not
was-
not recently, but definitely my licensing situation that y'all all know about. Finishing law school, finishing top third in my class, passing the bar on the first attempt, and then like going through this process with stuff from 10 years ago and dealing with the board. Like that was a long process, like 2 years for them not to let me work. And it's, man, I mean, the ups and downs, doing over 400 hours of community service and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's like that was such an emotional roller coaster trying to just not be fucking upset all the time. Cause like I was upset at my attorney. I'm like, damn, she should be doing the things I want her to do, but she got her own, her own vision. She's done this for years. This is her profession. She knows what it takes. being upset at her, being upset at other people, being upset at my situation, being upset at people who are holding me back from living my life, not having so much income, like getting one of my top 3 jobs straight out of law school that set me up. It was only me and Dahlia, the only 2 people from my class who started at the PDs. And it's like, damn, all this, like, finally get to another level and then you have to come right back down. It's so humbling. Like, I'm in a situation, I go to court, it's all attorneys and judges. I'm in the judges' chambers and all this stuff. And
Okay, so
going backwards.
So listen, not to cut you off, but so how would you describe depression? Like, if you were to describe it, how would you describe it?
I just say it's a struggle, man. It's an emotional struggle. It's trying to stay in a good spirit, trying to stay in a good place, because it's draining. It's draining.
And I can imagine. I'm saying this as from like a third party. Like, I've never like been depressed or felt clinically depressed or ever like, you know, I've never felt that way, but I've experienced it. Like, I've seen it with my 2 eyes. Like, I know what it looks like. I've heard people talk about it. Like, you know, so for me, one thing about, like, because we are speaking about depression, like, one thing I've always tried to do is like leave myself open to, like, if I feel like somebody else is depressed, or like leave it open. Like, I'm always an ear to listen. Let me put it that way. Like, even though I've never experienced it, not saying like it had never happened, but I've always, like, you know, try to be there for people who, you know, are down.
Now, like I said earlier, yeah, I've been depressed, and what it's felt like for me, I think the number one feeling is like a loss of energy. Yeah. Like, I didn't feel up to doing anything.
Yeah,
like
loss of desire.
Yeah, for
you
me to
can't
do
get that desire to do stuff.
Exactly. For me to do anything, I had to completely convince myself, like, give myself some other reason to do it. Otherwise, it'd be hard for me to do something.
Yeah.
Also, anything else could set me off. Like, so I'm in a depressed state, and something that I would normally be able to brush off,
just let go.
It's like I'd be more short tempered, or whatever emotion it would make me feel.
Yeah.
I'd be on like 10 during those times. It was so easy to set me off. Like, one time, people were asking me, "Oh, what happened when you didn't pass the bar?" And people who are not in law school are trying to give me tips on how to pass the bar. Right. And it took so much for me to tell somebody, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, especially parents, aunts, and uncles. It's like, oh, you especially have no idea what I'm going through right now.
And I can imagine, like, I can imagine what it's like, because it's like everybody wants to feel like they know what you're going through, like, or like, I've heard something that that people that are clinically depressed, like, they would say something like, yo, don't tell me you know how I feel, because you don't. You don't get it. Like, it's almost like it's offensive. Like, oh, don't worry, it'll get better. Oh, you know, like.
Yeah, but when you're in that moment, you can't visualize a year or 2 years later and it getting better, because every day is just draining. Right. Every day is a struggle just to stay in good spirits. It's really hard, like, going through a 1-2 year struggle to just stay in a good place mentally, and dealing with that struggle. It wears you down. It wears you down.
And I think I could have been depressed a few times. I really wasn't, only because I kept telling myself I'm still doing better than a lot of people. That's kind of what worked for me. I mean, it's not even a sense of arrogance. It's just saying, like, for instance, if I ever went a period where I didn't have a job, you know, like, which I don't know if that ever happened, but if I did go through that period, you know, it's like, it could be worse than this. You know, I still have family. I still got friends. I know I'm not broke. There's still money in the bank. You know, I still got an education. So for me, that's just what I use to kind of be able to push through.
Stay afloat.
You know, even like with you guys, you know, with what Peter was going through, you know, you still got family to fall back on. You know, you're not out on the streets. You know, like, you're not homeless. You still have a car. You still have a roof over your head. So those are the things that I use to kind of keep myself, you know, from falling into that state. And that just was work for me.
That's helpful right now with this corona situation. That helps me when I'm at a 5 to a 7. When I'm at about a 3 emotionally, that doesn't help.
Okay.
That doesn't help. Saying, like, I'm in a better situation, because you have to understand, like,
it's hard to see it.
My professors are judges. My professors are Ivy League professors, Harvard, Yale, all these professors at the school. Then I get a good job straight out of school. Not many people get it. And it was one of my top 3 jobs straight out of school, one of my goals, and I accomplished it. A lot of people, it's a struggle to get there. And then when you finally get somewhere and you're on a pathway to go somewhere good, and then you got to take several steps back, that hurts.
When I've been on what Peter just described as a 3, what I would say in response to what Big Mike just said is that pain is relative. So while you're going through it,
you can't see it.
Yeah, you can conceptualize that. Yeah, it could be worse, and then a lot of people have a worse situation.
But that's not gonna make you feel better.
It's hard because you don't feel their pain. You only feel your pain.
Yeah, no,
and that's
that's
what's been. It's hard to do that. But you're right. It could be a lot
worse. It could always be a lot worse.
Always be worse.
Especially like, especially like living in America, like we have what's quote unquote first world problems. So like our shit ain't even real shit because it's like it'd be nonsense. Like damn, we ain't got no Wi-Fi. Yo, I hate my life. Shit like that.
Yeah, the truth is relative.
I got a question for you guys. How did you cope with the depression? And then also, was if you coped with it using, a therapist or a shrink or whatever, what was how can I put it? How did you feel about going about it? With the stigma of, black men being, going to therapists and that's not really like something that's,
did you guys go to therapy?
I've been to therapy several times.
You've been?
Several times. I've seen at least 7 different therapists.
Shit.
And I've done multiple sessions with some people. But seeing 7, like one woman was a older, very old white woman. I didn't really connect with her. So I didn't think therapy was effective until I got a black woman, when I got a black man, and I could relate to them. That's when therapy was.
Interesting point. I don't want to
for me, that's what helped me. Getting a therapist I could relate to. Like when I went to some therapists, it was just, they just getting a paycheck because it's not doing anything for me because I don't relate to them.
So you felt like the black.
I needed a connection.
Were more connected.
If I would have connected to a white person, I would have connected to a white person.
Oh, okay,
I didn't connect with that older white woman. I connected very well with a black woman. I connected extremely well with a black man. There was a white kid who's, I don't want to say kid, a white young man who was about my age. He just finished school, and at one point in therapy, he was a little insensitive. And I was happy when something bad happened to his family. When he had
shit.
Fuck him.
Fuck.
I was happy.
Hold on. Time out.
Because I'm struggling, and then he's saying some I'm in therapy because I need help. You're a professional. I know you just finished school and you're just starting your career, but you gotta, this is your job. People come to you when they need help.
That's what
to be saying,
was it a therapist or was it like
he was a therapist?
Oh, okay. Right,
1-on-1 private sessions.
Okay.
And he said some stuff that was a little insensitive. And I'm like, damn, dude.
That's white privilege. That's what that is.
I was just happy when something happened to his family and he was fucked up.
Stop repeating
that
shit.
Fuck him. Like, now that you're in that pain, you see how it feels. And I hope you go to therapy and get better.
Well, Peter, that's wild. 1.
No, fuck him.
2, but let me ask you something. Did you ever talk to another therapist about that situation?
No, I didn't tell his boss about it.
Not his boss, but I mean one of the other therapists that you saw. Because I have a reason for asking that.
No, I didn't.
The reason why I'm asking is maybe what you perceived as being insensitive, maybe there was a reason for it. Now, I'm not saying there is. It's just a thought that came to my mind. And
I don't know, possible. Maybe he was doing his job.
Maybe. I don't know.
Have you been to therapy?
So, no, I've not been to therapy. And so to answer your question, I have horrible coping mechanisms. I think my number one coping thing is drinking. That's my number one coping.
Yeah, you are.
My second one was probably be women.
Yeah.
Those 2 things. Then third would probably be food. Then fourth, now we start getting healthy. Then I start exercising. I start listening to music.
Right.
But I'm usually going through those 3 things. Whatever those first 3 bad things I said. Yeah,
so you said that's what you
horrible
usually do when
coping,
you're down. So alcohol is the number one.
Number one by
alcohol,
far.
women, and food.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
it's not a bad lineup.
That's not good, man.
It's not, but I've had some bad instances from it
regarding it.
Yeah, like especially with alcohol. Like I've been in several accidents, and to God be the glory, everything's fine.
Oh, you don't know how to drive.
But just drinking way too much, trying to escape whatever it is that I was going through. Drinking just way too much or making other bad decisions because I was drinking.
Oh, I've always had that as a general rule of thumb. Like if I'm really, really down or depressed, like I just won't drink. Like if I'm just really, really down, like this shit's not going well. Like, like me personally, like when I was in nursing school, because I see you guys were talking about schools. Like I was in nursing school for a while, like, longer than a lot of time they always say, like whatever. So when I was in there and then I finished and I was supposed to take the exam, I took that exam like 3 times and it just was not happening. Like, and then you get down because damn, this shit is expensive. Like,
Right.
never getting that bread back and like, you know, so you be down. And then like, if you do drink, like when you down like that, I realize, well, when I do, like that shit just kills me. Like it just, everything that's bad, it just amplifies all the worseness. So I try not to, like, but a lot of people abuse it when they're down.
Yeah, not to justify what I do, but I'm typically a happy drunk. So I'm typically
cool.
making more jokes. I'm typically trying to have fun because I'm trying to get away from things that make me sad.
I mean, you're outgoing without liquor, so
That's
you don't
true,
really
too.
need. I don't think you just like you're social. You don't. I don't think you need the liquor to be outgoing. You're just an outgoing.
No,
person.
you said like
Right,
if he's
no, I don't-
upset to feel better, like to
Correct.
as
Like
a-
when I'm being depressed.
right.
Yeah.
So what you do when you sad, Mike? You hug your pillow and cry. I'm never sad.
I drink a little something, you know, might smoke some hookah, maybe even a cigar, but for the most part, I've gone to therapy. I did not individual, but it was more like, you know, couples therapy. I went through that with, you know, an ex of mine, but I don't know. I think I just try to remain positive. I haven't really gone into a state of like depression. I just kind of stay to myself and remember that things could be worse. That's just really what it is for me.
Have you? You say you've been in couples therapy, but I'm gonna hold off on that real quick because I do have a question. Have you ever considered solo therapy, like just regular going to see a therapist on your own?
In all reality, I just don't feel like anything's wrong with me. And the reality of it is, there probably something is wrong. I mean, there probably is something wrong with me. I just don't. I feel like I cope with things, you know, pretty good. I don't abuse any type of substance. I don't smoke weed because I'm depressed. I don't drink myself into a grave because, you know, I'm going through some things. I don't know. I just watch my movies and call it a night.
And,
Shit.
you know-
and then I don't have time to also be depressed. I have a daughter, you know, that I got to raise. So, you know, at the end of the day, my job is to be the best father I can to her. And maybe that's my therapy there, you know, just seeing her smiling and understanding that I can't give her anything less than what I was given when I was growing up. So, but I probably do need therapy because I probably internalize a lot of things without even naturally knowing it.
Yeah, and it's all right to go. I know some people see
Yeah.
a stigma, but it's all right to go.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like as soon as I asked that, you're like, yeah. I said, have you ever been to therapy? Like I don't feel like anything is wrong with me. I don't feel like there has to be anything wrong with you to go. Like I feel like, you know, you can go just because you want to talk like to somebody that's unbiased.
Yeah,
that's
and it's healthy.
like, it is healthy. It is healthy. Like, so I feel like I personally feel like everybody should go to therapy, whether you're happy, sad, mad, whatever you think you are right now. Like, I feel like you should go to therapy because
I agree with you, and I'm very fortunate to have great groups of friends,
I
different
was
groups
just
of
going to
friends
say that.
Yeah,
that I
helps.
get to talk to from time to time. You guys
Right.
included, and sometimes I think about a certain thing that I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, who would be the good person to talk to? Right
yeah,
here?
to get it off. Yeah,
Yeah,
And that's funny because Peter and I, for instance, we got a good friendship. I've known Peter since, you know, day one, but he's gone through things that he probably didn't feel comfortable telling anybody else, and he's told me, confided in me, and vice versa. I call him in a heartbeat, like, yo, this is what's going on, bro, and he'll just sit there and listen to me. He'll give me the best advice. So, and I think that's partially why I haven't gone. You know, at the end of the day, Peter's an intelligent guy. You know, you're an intelligent guy. Daniel's an intelligent guy. Everybody on this podcast is pretty intelligent. So I think for me, I just kind of confide in each of y'all or just kind of talk to you individually. And
right.
and that kind of gives me, you know, I don't know what a therapist can tell me that you guys can't.
I mean,
but
I would if you ever told me something, and I think you really needed to see a professional. I'm gonna encourage you. I'm gonna go with you to the appointment. I'm not just gonna tell you to go. I'll go with you.
oh, Peter.
Nah, it's something that we learned in the Army also, because mental health. There's a lot of there's people killing themselves, committing suicide in the military.
Yeah.
So they started trying to get rid of that stigma in the Army and probably other branches of service also. But I served in the Army. They tried to get rid of the stigma. They were telling you, take the person to the therapist. Don't just tell them to
buddy
go.
system.
You need to make sure they get there, so you take them to the therapist.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, you brought up an interesting point. You know, suicide. Like, it just seems like, you know, even in this day and age, like, you know, you see a lot of kids, you know, younger. I know when we were younger, I didn't think about suicide like that, and I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else, but it just seems like the age is getting younger and younger with kids killing themselves, and that's probably why people not. A lot of these kids don't have nobody to go and talk to. You know, they don't have a mom or a dad in the house or whatnot. And it's just crazy.
And
And
go ahead.
I think it's important. I don't want to gloss over one of the points that you did make when you said that, like, sometimes when you have personal things, you might get it off with your friends. I think that a healthy group of friends is perfect. Like, those are like perfect therapy sessions. Like, yo, this is how I'm feeling in my relationship. This is how I'm feeling with this other person. This is how I'm feeling with, what do you think? Like, how do you think? Do you think I responded well? Like, I think that having a healthy group of friends that can, like, that would actually give you honest feedback. Like, nobody wants a yes man. Oh, you was right, dog. Yeah, you always right. That's not good. That's not healthy. Like, it's something that they say, like, if you're not fighting, you don't really love each other. So, like, when you arguing with people or you telling them, like, no, I don't think this is how you should do it, this is how you should do that. Like, I think that, like, not only stimulates your mind, but it stimulates their mind, so that I know, like, when I have something, I'm going to bring it back and bounce it off you because you were comfortable enough. So I think a healthy group of friends also does keep you afloat. Like, that's almost as important as going to therapy, because some people, they don't have it, unfortunately. Like,
I was surprised. I talked to some dude some time ago. I think it was in Toastmasters or something. He told me, like, he never had friends, and it's like, I don't even know what that is.
Right.
Like, we've known each other for like 30 years plus.
and that's rare.
Like, we grew up in the same community, same everything. We've always been there. Like, I was like, I can't visualize growing up without friends. I don't know. Like, that's weird.
And that's how it is for some people. Unfortunately, that's their reality. Like, sometimes, like, you know, I don't know, they might have moved around a lot, never really got to know anybody. Maybe just the way their personality is, they don't really connect with others like that. And, you know, and they might be super lonely. Like, you know,
that's a blessing that we have.
For sure.
It's one of the things I'm grateful for.
For sure.
Me too. And although we do have it, it's certainly not a substitution for therapy.
No, not a substitute.
If you need to go, just go, man.
Right.
I'll go with you.
There's definitely things that a licensed professional
can help
you with that your friends can't help you with.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's not a substitution, but I think both, like, go together well. Like,
no, I agree with
that. Like Peter just said, like, if you need help, go. Even if you think you don't need help. Even if you think your life has been 1,000% perfect and you didn't, you know, you've never had an error, you've never even been remotely upset, still talk. Because I feel like things that was probably part of your childhood that caused you trauma that you don't even know is trauma because that's your norm. And, you know, like, at least for us, we are really close for a while. So, like, we can talk about things that happen, like, you know, but some people, when they go through things, they think that's normal. Everybody goes through that. Yeah. So I feel like with, you know.
And I think, you know, to that point, I think all black people should just go.
Just go.
I think, you know, if we're being honest, you know, with the traumas, you know, there's still effects of slavery, you know, on black people, you know. Right. When I walk down the street and I see a motherfucker acting real dumb and ready to fight, like I watch videos on YouTube and World Star, and you see all these angry ass people fighting over foolishness, and all I can think about is, damn, that's trauma from somewhere, whether it's slavery, angry,
abuse,
you know. So I think every black person should, you know, at some point go.
I heard somebody say all black people suffer from PTSD.
I think it might have been Charlemagne the God, and I agree with that. We have
whoever it was.
If you seen a friend of yours die, which a lot of black people have seen friends get shot, you seen mom getting beat up in the house by the boyfriend, or you've been touched. A lot of black people or people, period, have been molested or touched by family members, people outside of the family.
It's all trauma.
It's all trauma, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's affecting you somehow. And you don't even know it.
And you don't even know it. You don't even, like, even when you, like, dating and stuff like that, like, the way, like, you're coming off to other people based on how you were brought up, it's still that trauma. Like, you might be certain things in your relationship. There was something that y'all just touched on when,
Well, when you said the dating, like, I've encouraged my ex to go to therapy when we broke up.
Yeah, because you verbally abused her.
Yeah,
he told the girl she was fat. He was like, man, you fat.
And I ain't say it like that. I mean,
but he said it, though.
Like,
you're out of
how
shape.
are you supposed to be honest with people? Like,
you can be honest.
But I did encourage her to seek, you know, professional help, because I noticed things. Because when she wanted to get married a couple times, and I was like, I can't. I don't want to. I'm not the right person to tell you everything I see in you, because we're too close.
Okay.
So sometimes with that closeness, because if I say it, it's going to really hurt. It's not coming out the right way, because you love me too much. You care about me too much. It hurts. So I was encouraging her, especially when it was over. You need to see a professional. I tell her, hey, I've seen a professional. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you need help, go see a professional. Because there's some things I saw, and that's part of the reason I couldn't commit.
How did she take it?
She seemed professional afterward.
Okay. But that's what I was gonna say. It actually just came to me now. I think that like a lot of times we have this negative stigma with going to see a therapist. Like I know I wanted to see a therapist some time ago, like a while ago, a couple years ago. I want to go see a therapist. I told my old girl like, "Yo, I'm trying to go see a therapist." She said, "Therapy for what? What do you need it for? what are you going there for? You can't talk to me." I'm like, "Nah, I can't talk to you."
That's just the nosiness of African parents.
Not even a lot of parents are like that, especially in the black community. There's a negative stigma with it. Like you try to go see therapists, they assume, "Oh, you got to be crazy, or you got to be what's wrong with you? Like, why are you depressed? Just pray about it. Just go, you know."
Right. I had a similar situation. I never talked to my parents about why I wanted to go to therapy or why I thought it was necessary. But the reason I did not go to therapy was because I was worried about how they would feel. Like I was worried about them seeing the bill. I was worried about them trying to commit me to some church and have them just praying on me and pouring water, and it was Holy Ghost fire.
That's
and we never even talk about my issues.
The actual issues. You never speak about it.
And that's just like I think in the Nigerian community, everything with them is spiritual and like religious. You know, I remember going to church when we were younger, and if someone was, you know, told to be angry or upset, you know, they had some type of demon possession.
Oh yeah,
demon. And then when they want to put water on you and all that, it's like maybe the nigga just suffering from depression, maybe the person just angry
or something different. You know
they
what I mean?
associated everything with a demon. If you had a mental health condition, they could see a person on the street bipolar, schizophrenic, and they'll be like, oh. It's an evil spirit that's over how you have to pray it out. Like, what the fuck out of here?
And then that's why we got to learn. We got to be retaught. Because obviously our parents' like mentalities now are different than what they were 20 years ago, right? Like certain things, I mean, to a degree.
To a degree.
They're a lot more different now because like now they learn, they understand. They be like, yo, just as we learn, like, you know, therapy is a good thing. Like it's not a bad thing. It's only to help you. It's not gonna, you know. It shouldn't hurt you unless it's a white lady. It
shouldn't hurt you at all. I think one of the only times I've ever heard my parents in particular think that therapy was good was before getting married, but it had to be couples counseling, but it had to be in front of a pastor or a reverend or one of them.
Yeah, it can't even be in front of somebody who, God forbid, has a fucking degree in it, right?
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
That's actually an excellent point because like a lot of people, you know, they don't do couples counseling. I believe in couples counseling. I feel like you should, before you get married, you should definitely always like go to couples counseling, whether you just, you know, you think you guys have the best marriage, the best engagement in the whole entire world, and your fiance is just the greatest, you just love them so much, you should still go.
Definitely.
But I don't feel as limited to the church. Like there are psychologists that specialize in they study it. They've read tons of books. They know everything there is to know about it. And I feel like, you know.
And on top of that, that person could also be a part of whatever religion you're a part of. They don't necessarily have to be a deacon, a pastor, or in the church. Right. You could just go to them professionally. They can give you professional advice. And if you have questions about how this relates to our religion, maybe you can ask them and then see how it goes.
Keep that shit to yourself. I don't want to hear nothing about that.
I'm saying if you ask.
Yeah, I just want to hear strictly about what you learned in the books. I don't want to hear nothing about the spirit.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit because I know we were just talking about couples counseling. You said you've been to couples therapy before, Mike.
Absolutely, I have. And you had a question pertaining to that?
Not necessarily. Like, how did that go? Because, like, obviously, like, we're young. I've never been, like, married or nothing like that. I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, I wasn't married either, but it was just with someone that I was in a vested relationship with. And we had a lot of issues. We were trying to grow past, like, the issues. And so we tried to make it work on so many levels. We went as far as having one of my, having Mike, as a matter of fact, come over. You know, I had one of my friends come over. She had one of her friends come over, and they mediated the situation.
Okay.
It worked out, but, I mean, nothing got resolved. And so we went to get professional help, and then she called it off. Like, she started hearing her truth about herself, and she couldn't hear it anymore, so she just kind of stopped it.
That's what. And okay, so did you feel like it was worth trying? Did you feel like it was, if you were to do it again, do you think you would do it again?
The thing about that is the person has to want to change. You know, it can't be
both parties.
You can't say, well, I want us to go to therapy, which I think a lot of like women, you know, do with men. They kind of force you to come to therapy, and the reality of it is, if you're being forced to go, he's not going to leave with anything because he's like already like, I don't want to be here to begin with. You
Right.
both got to accept that you want the same thing.
If y'all trying to work in a relationship, he should want to go also.
Well, a lot of men don't feel like they're the issue.
Well, that's their problem. They gotta check themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it has to be both parties. But even if it's the guy or the female, it doesn't matter who in the relationship.
Yeah,
both parties have to be committed to making it happen.
You have to go. All right, guys, don't be stubborn. Guys have to go also, and because it's for the relationship. Because there was one dude.
I mean, when you say that, like, I think that's an issue within an issue by itself. Like, if they don't want to go, you just have to dig into why don't you? So you don't want this relationship to work. Then that's not like. I think that's the point he was making.
Yeah, but
like,
the problem with that,
for it to work.
No, you got to listen to what I'm saying.
Like,
if both parties don't want the relationship to work,
all right,
there's no point in
that's
going.
true.
No point.
If both people don't want it to work, it's not going to work.
Exactly, that's the bottom line. There,
yeah, but therapy, like, I wish more people wouldn't see it as a stigma. It's very helpful, especially if you find the right person. And
no, definitely. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. But it's because of the like what's been layered in it, what's been instilled, almost like the negative. You hear something negative about something over and over and over. 20 years out of your life, it's going to be hard to change that. It's going to be hard to get away from that mentality, that way of thinking, you know?
And I think that, like Kenneth was saying earlier, a lot of people just kind of self-medicate, you know? When he went through depression, or he does go through it, he grabs a bottle. A lot of people in, you know, this day and age, and even in the years previous, you know, they smoked weed, you know? Like, a lot of people feel like that was how they dealt with, you know, whatever it was that they were dealing with. And that's the other problem. I think that,
you think it's a problem?
Yeah, I don't see marijuana solving the issue. You know, at the end of the day, if you're broke and you smoking marijuana, after you come down from your high, you're still going to be fucking broke.
Yeah, but I get that and I understand that, but I think it's a little bit of everything, right? Like when we was talking about the your friend group, we're talking about you want to have good, healthy friends around you that can help you. That's one of the things that could help you. Like, you know, weed is probably another thing that probably gets you through it. Like.
Yeah, all of those things are just coping. None of those things address the actual issue. They're like Band-Aids without medication, without the Neosporin or whatever it is that you take to clean or dress your wound.
And that's part of the reason for me. I try to use fitness as one of the things that helped me out. That's part of the reason, like, once I finished school and I had more time, when I was able to get back in the gym, I've been pretty consistent up until, like, they closed the gyms and stuff and hurt my wrist and everything. But
no, that's not how you hurt your wrist, bro. I heard how you hurt your
wrist. That's funny.
I heard how you hurt that shit.
Sure.
You got to switch that
it's
shit up.
It's a struggle, man,
bro.
every day. But, yeah, so... Yeah, so like that, I like right now when I can't lift weights, I do more running. But I like to use fitness because that high, that healthy high you get when you finish a workout, that's what I use to help me with my mood and everything. And I can notice the difference when I can't go to the gym versus when I'm being consistent.
And I think that's important too. That's good too, because like a lot of times, like how we see ourselves help with how we feel about ourselves, right? Like, I think we put a lot of focus on monetary things, like, oh, I want these clothes that look good, I want these shoes that look good, let me buy this, I want a nice car. But like, if you focus on like your mental health, keeping yourself happy, if fitness does it, if
mental health, man,
you know, I'm with that. I'm with that. But like, definitely, like, if you do want to use therapy, like, you should, even if you like just remotely thought it. Like, I think every single person should.
I think in addition to using therapy. And I just want to get past just the coping thing, but us as our being a friend to somebody, reaching out to those people you think might be. I'm
just
trying
down,
to like real down.
And you see it because you can see body language. You can see, yo, you ain't been, you know, how you usually are. Like, what's going on? Like, you know, shit like that.
Yeah, that's actually very, very true. I had a friend who committed suicide last year.
Yeah.
Someone I went to high school with, we were cool. He used to work at one of the clubs in Miami, actually. Fort Lauderdale, Club Euro. He was actually the bouncer that was out there. You know, most people know him as Earl, but I think he was going through a situation where he lost his job and then money got tight. He had a whole wife and everything, and he reached out to another one of my homeboys, and was like, "Listen, man, I need somebody to talk to." And the dude brushed him off at that time. Was like, "Man, I'm tired, bro. I just finished driving these trucks, bro. I'll holler at you later on." And not long after, maybe an hour or two, he went and grabbed a gun and shot himself in the head, you know. And my other homeboy was like, "Damn, bro, he just asked to talk to me, man. I could have talked him out of that shit. He probably had an issue with money. I could have slapped the dude a couple dollars, but And it's all too late. So it's important, even if you got friends that want to talk sometimes, man, shit, fuck it. Your job could wait. You got a little 15-minute break, talk to them.
Yeah, I've been in several situations where a friend of mine expressed to me about wanting to commit suicide or wanting to hurt themselves, and I had to let go of, hey, people saying that, it's not a play thing.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, suicide is real, depression is
Super.
real. Not everybody's going to go to therapy, but sometimes I might need to be that person that a friend could lean on, and I just have to take my mindset as I'm just that person for them to lean on. Get whatever it is off your chest. Tell me, tell your friends or whoever. Yeah, you gotta listen.
Yeah.
So I got a question. I'm sorry.
Right. No pressure.
How do y'all use like your religion or even like your spirituality to like cope with some of the depression? Like, are you praying to get out of depression? Because I have a different belief on all of that stuff. I don't believe in praying to get anything. I believe in just where you are is where you're going to be at until you change your own, situation. So I guess with people who are more religious or spiritual,
I've never prayed to get out of depression, but I have prayed to make me stronger to endure a certain situation, or to make me wiser to endure a certain situation, or get myself out of a certain situation, give me strength.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I've prayed for. I sing gospel. Like, I'm the type of person to sing R&B or gospel songs while I'm working out or in the shower, and those things.
Out?
Right.
Yeah. Those few instances when I work out, you know what I mean? So, because those things, they calm me down, they settle me down. Those are my positive coping things, and when I'm not doing the negative things that I mentioned earlier.
Like smoking weed and then praying to God.
I've never smoked weed then prayed to God.
No, for sure. Like back to your point. For sure, I've never prayed the depression away or
sadness
away.
Or
sadness away. I don't think that's how it works, but definitely I have been like in a trash place and like went to church and like you're singing, you like praising God, and it's almost like that reminder, like you were saying, like when you do get down, you get like, oh, I'm thankful. It could be a lot worse. It could be like, so like that's probably what it does for me, like almost like bring my mind back to like, yeah, there is a lot to be thankful for. There is hope after all. It gives you hope if you are feeling hopeless. For me, that's what it does for me, like going to church and stuff like that.
Agreed. My fault. Go ahead.
I've noticed at the church I attend, I love the music. I love the gospel music. I love the sermon.
Yeah.
Hearing the music, the very good music, and the sermon, that's like it's a different form of controlling my mental health. It's similar to the exercise, but it's a little different. And I noticed by going to church regularly, getting the good music, being around the people, getting the word every once, it's another way that helps me with my mental health.
Just stay level-headed.
So I got a question about that. Do you not think you can get that outside of the church? Like, for instance, you're saying, you go to church, you get the whole praise and worship, and that kind of puts you in the mood and in the good word. Do you not think you can but maybe turn on a YouTube channel and listen to a motivational speaker like I think his name Eric Thomas or
Tony Robbins?
Do you not think you can get that same effect without the church, without the godly aspect?
Go ahead.
I think you can.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's a reason not to do it. I think it's just one of many ways to cope. So for me, I would say or suggest to people to not have one coping thing, because sometimes I can't just run. Sometimes I won't drink. Sometimes it won't be whatever the negative or the positive. Sometimes it's just not either or.
Yeah, situation by situation. This situation, I was helped talking to my friend. This other situation, I was helped. We were chilling. We was smoking, whatever. We was drinking. We was whatever. Another situation, maybe I went to church and I prayed, and then I felt that connection to God, that spiritual connection to God, and then I felt like, it brought me down a level. It should be multiple coping mechanisms beside like just to like, not even that you're only depressed, but just to like get you going, remind you who you are. Like, look yourself in the mirror. I am that nigga. What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Just to like give you like,
Yeah, because I've woken up. And for whatever reason, I wasn't depressed. I wasn't going through anything. I just felt like I wanted to go to church one day. Yeah. And I got up and it was just like, let me go to church, because I just needed that for some reason.
Right.
Okay.
I've woken up and I just felt like I want to run today. Nothing was wrong with me, but I was just like, I just want to run today.
Yeah. And then, maybe like you do hear motivational speaker like, oh, you could do anything. Like, you are great. You are empowered. You are, and maybe on that day it sounds great, like. Maybe it does sound great on that day in the song, but I don't think the two can be like compared, or they can replace each other, or like
right.
Yeah,
there's no substitution. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like what I try to do, what I started doing more often is I try to just keep my mind high, keep my mental state high. I don't like to get down to a 3.
All right.
So I don't like to get, like when I'm at a 3 and a 2, I don't feel like I have friends.
So
Ye-
let me just
Go
ask you a
ahead.
question, just really quick. So do you feel like it's almost like an active move that you have to like make sure that you're take self-monitoring of your mental health? Like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit down. Let me try to get myself back up. I'm treading down. Do you keep making note of it?
I think that I've
Like
probably
daily.
been depressed so much that I've learned things that help. So I just try to stay doing the things that help because I know what's going to happen if I don't. I know where I'm going to go if I don't take care of my mental health, if I don't take care of myself. I'm going to go down to that 3, that 2, where even though I have tons of friends, I've always had friends, tons of friends.
Right.
When I get to that point where I don't feel like I have any friends and it feels real to me and I'm not reaching out to no one, I'm not talking to no one about it.
Yeah.
People don't know until I come out of that dark space that I was even in a dark space.
Understood.
So I like the things. There's so much stuff. Like I bought software. Mind Master is one of it. It's something that puts subliminal messages, positive affirmations on your screen, and it just keeps blinking every once in a while, like split second, a tenth of a second, a positive message, because your subconscious mind is faster than your conscious mind. I've done that, giving myself positive affirmations. I've changed my screensaver on my laptop, where it's always, if I'm not using it, it starts putting tons of different positive affirmation. I've read them so many times that I just have all this positive affirmations in my head because I've done it so much, or working out or running.
Yeah.
So I just stay in it.
Yeah.
I stay in it. I don't like to get out of it because I know if I get out of it, like through this coronavirus, if I lose my job or something, and I don't have all these things I've been practicing, I could get to a really bad spot.
See, that's interesting to have like a daily practice to make sure that you never get into a particular state. Like I've never had like a daily practice of how to avoid that. For me, it's just I start to learn, like I feel myself coming down, and before I get to a certain point, okay, do something. Do
right.
Yoga.
A or B. You know what I mean?
Meditation. That's some of the shit I started like.
You meditate?
Actually, it's something that. See, I'm spiritual more as opposed to being religious. So, I kind of got into. I can't do yoga. Nigga ain't flexible.
That's funny.
I can't do shit no more. I can barely touch my fucking back. But I'm in a place now where, like, I just do. I meditate. So that's something I picked up from one of my exes that, bitch was crazy, but. What I learned from, and I kind of put her on to some some different shit, like being spiritual as opposed to being religious. And one of the things, I came home one day and she's like, I'm finna start meditating. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? And she might burn a little sage, and I put on to the sage thing because I'm a Dr. CB nigga, but
Sage is witchcraft.
I don't even want to hear the bullshit, but do the little sage sometimes, to get the little spirit side. And then I do some meditation, man. Like I actually started doing that. One of my exes was kind of like big on it, and it's hard to do at first because you really have to like focus. When you got to tune everything else out, but when you start getting into it, start practicing more, it kind of is very relaxing.
Is the stuff where you control your breathing? That's the type of meditation you do?
For the most part, it's controlled breathing. It's also just like, taking your mind somewhere else. So like, I'm still kind of doing this shit, assisted by YouTube. So I kind of turn on a little YouTube thing and it'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, and they got apps also.
Yeah, so that I found that actually works.
I've practiced that before. I think it's called mindfulness.
Yeah.
I was actually in school and they were making us do it as an exercise for whatever reason.
Christians would call that witchcraft, but
there was no sage burning. All it was just focusing.
even still, I remember when yoga came out. I remember being in yoga in a Nigerian church, and I remember pastor saying, "It's witchcraft. The meditation is witchcraft."
It
It is not witchcraft.
So
Like-
hold on.
That's
Let's
funny.
backtrack because I don't want to get past one of the points that you didn't make. You say you're spiritual rather than religious.
Absolutely.
What does that mean to you? Actually, what does that mean to you? Let me ask you first.
Okay, so for me, I identify as being agnostic. I don't believe in a specific religion. I just kind of believe in a higher power. So.
But just believe that there is one.
Yeah, so my whole thing is there, the ocean is God, right? And you have different rivers and tributaries that lead to the same, ocean.
okay,
So
okay.
you have, maybe Christian is one, river, and then maybe, Islam is another tributary, and it all leads to the same ocean. You know,
Okay,
how
I
you
get
get
what
there,
you're saying.
it's not doesn't matter the road you take to get there. It's just a matter of reaching the destination. So for me, I don't really believe in all the religious things. I don't believe in going to church and all that stuff. I just kind of believe in the higher power. I believe that, you know, God's within every one of us individually. I have my own God. You have your own God inside of you. And I think I would say praying is just words of affirmation. It's like speaking things into existence. I don't believe in this heaven or hell thing. I just believe that, you know, at the end of the day, nobody really knows where we're going. So that's just me.
I feel you. The way you described it with the ocean, the river, and everyone taking their different path. I've heard that before.
Oh, right.
And whether it's true or not, what I like about it, it's a way for us to what's the word that I'm looking for? For us to be able to say, hey, I'm whatever religion you are, and then accept somebody of another religion without putting them down, without condemning them.
And I think that's attractive because we've all seen that like bumper sticker, like it says coexist, but it's like all the religions,
right?
And it's like shows. I think that's dope. I think that you could be able to say that, oh, I don't believe in anything but a higher power, and I say I believe in our Lord, I believe in Jesus, or you know, this person believes in Buddha, and like that doesn't mean we have to have anything against each other. I know, like, you know, historically, it'd be like, oh, that person is this. I don't want to like mess with them.
You're going to hell, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, or something like that. Or so like almost like branding somebody. Oh, you don't believe in what I believe, so you automatically. I think that's garbage. Like, I think that's like a trash way of thinking, which really turns a lot of people off to religion as a whole.
Exactly.
Because everybody's so judgy, they just want to be like, oh, I'm better than you because I believe in Buddha.
And that was my biggest issue with religion. Is like growing up, I was always a person, you know, taught to think for myself. So it was like, how can I tell you, another black, you know, individual, you're going to hell because you don't believe in Jesus or because you don't believe in Allah? The same way I'm telling you that, you telling me the same thing. So who's really going to hell?
Right, I understand.
That was my whole thing.
I get it.
You know, like I can't, you know, we're all moving based on the same thing, faith and hope.
Faith and hope.
We go to church, you know, we have faith that, you know, God is going to come back, Jesus is going to come back, but shit. Nigga been saying that for a long time. I ain't seen him yet. So
Jesus is coming.
That nigga late, man. Like he don't color time.
He was gone. I said
he don't color time, man. So
the thing that like what you saying, like what kind of made me not as strong in my faith as when I was growing up, how all of us grew up, is when I started taking classes on religion in college.
Absolutely.
And then studying religions and seeing where they started, seeing where they get their influences from, seeing other practices in existence before Christianity started in Africa, and then seeing all this stuff, all these different connections. It's like when I started to study it, and I can see the date when Scientology begins. I can see the date when all of this stuff begins. It's like how you guys were telling me this is the truth, but I can see a different truth before you. And then you start asking questions, and if you're trying to be logical and put it together, or if you're going to use faith and just believe it, then there's a little struggle there.
Right. The word I was looking for earlier was reconcile. And why that's important is, how do you reconcile saying that I'm Christian, Muslim, whatever, and with what Peter just said, facts show that, hey, you got your doctrine from this other religion.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so how do you reconcile that?
Or it's just a big coincidence.
Or it's a big coincidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, I'm not posing that question for us to answer. The purpose of me saying that is this. That's why you don't judge and condemn.
That's why you don't judge and condemn. That is the golden rule right there. Do not judge and condemn. Like, if we would all just let people be happy and do what they want to do, like, if that's your choice, if you believe in this faith or you hope this because of whatever reason, that's your business. That don't have nothing to do with me. If I believe what I believe and I'm going to where I'm going, then I'm going to, you know.
And see, my thing is that we can still coexist.
Yeah, we absolutely can.
I remember once upon a time, you know, I decided I want to open a business. My dad was like, "You don't believe in Jesus, I can't give you any money." Oh, I was like, "Nigga, what? I'm your blood." Like,
wow.
Like, what the fuck we talking about right now? And even with
bro,
like
that's
women,
too funny. My bad. Well, hold on. Let us process this. This is too funny. Okay, I'm done. Go.
It was crazy to me because it's like, at the end of the day, we're still blood. Damn. Even if I'm not your son, I'm still black.
That's
true, like, at the end of the day, you should want to see me do good. I remember even when I started, like, you know, talking to different women, I tell them, listen, I'm not spiritual. I mean, I'm not Christian. I mean, I'm not religious. I believe in spirituality, you know. And they'll be like, I can't talk to you. I got to let you go because you don't believe in Jesus. I'm like, ma'am, you're 37 with 3 kids. Every guy you dated prior to this has been Christian. and they all dogged you the fuck out. So now, because I mean, to me, it's more important that you have morals and values. You know, you have. To me, it's true. Like, if I have good morals and good values, being a Christian doesn't make you a better man than anybody that has the same.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I agree with that.
And to your point, and I think that's a funny thing you just told, because I actually was talking to a woman once upon a time, like many years ago, and she told me she was an atheist. I knew from that day I was never gonna talk. I actually went home and prayed. I was like, "Yo, go forgive me,
yo,"
because like, you know, I get what you're saying. Like, you know, like everybody can have moral values. They don't have to have a religion attached to them for them to be a good person or a bad person. But you can kind of see it. Like if I'm dating, I would want to date somebody the same religion as me. I think because like it just makes things easier. Like, it doesn't, like, you know, imagine you guys are like, you come up, she's like, I'm gonna raise my son, my daughter, our kid as Christian, and you like, what?
But see, that's where free will kicks in. So I have an aunt who's actually Christian, and her husband, they've been married for like 40 years, is actually Muslim.
Right.
And they've been married for 40 fucking years. They have a great marriage, no divorce. They still happily married. So to me, it's like saying, my wife can't be Democratic and I be Republican. I mean, if we can have different views as long as we respect each other's minds.
She voted for Trump and I'm going to have sex with her?
Well, listen,
that ruins some relationships.
Yeah,
but
right.
What you're,
outside of that cracker, but.
Well, what you're saying, I think the thing is, like.
Hold on, let us process this laugh. Oh, see? He killed it.
That was the Kawhi.
He had the Kawhi laugh.
Woo. But the thing is, like, the person has to be ready to receive it, because like I can understand your perspective, but if the person, just like when you go and you preach the gospel to all the world, tell them about. So if someone isn't ready to receive the message and come into Christianity, you can just talk to them. It's not going to do anything. Just like you telling them someone else, hey, it's just about the values. You done been with 3 Christians. You got 3 different baby daddies. How's that working for you?
All them dogged your ass out with your tired ass.
But if they not ready to receive the message, you just talking.
Absolutely.
So
you're just talking. There's no point. But I think that's the like bottom line there, when you don't judge and condemn, because like I think that like, because even then you judging and condemning her right after she said she don't want to date you,
Mr. Don't Judge.
Right, that's true.
Damn. I ain't judging because
all your baby daddies where they at.
I was making an exemption to talk to her. I was making, you get what I'm saying? Like, I was willing to still talk to you.
Well, you dogged it.
I tried her, but I ain't just.
but I'm saying it
true.
goes both ways. Like, don't judge and condemn people because of whatever they believe. Then all right, no problem. I don't want to, you know.
Even with that, it can be beneficial to judge and condemn.
How?
So if somebody's practice, if they're trying to consolidate power, or if they're trying to get membership, they're telling people this is the way, this is the true way. Because I've seen a number of different sermons or lessons, and then some pastor will take a swipe at a different version of Christianity. Oh, they're over here speaking in tongues. You don't have to speak in tongues. All you got to do is believe. All you have to do is be baptized and accept Jesus Christ. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to receive the gifts of the Holy Spirit evidenced by speaking in tongues. All you need to do is be
no, that's a fact though. That's
raise up.
We're not gonna have that conversation.
Yeah, so some I've seen when different people have criticized other people, and it's telling them that what I'm telling you is the truth, because you can't have 2 versions of the truth. There's only one truth.
But I'm thinking that's the problem. That's my point right there. Trying to judge and condemn and saying they're not doing it right, they're not doing this. Like, as Christian, I believe 2 things, right? I believe love everybody as yourself, and number 2, don't sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I like the
first point.
Yeah, no. Love everybody. Love your neighbor as yourself, and acknowledge that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. Those are the only 2 things I base Christianity. I don't feel like you have to talk in tongues or pray really loudly.
But it's in the Bible, so then it's like, what part are you choosing?
Listen, I remember going to a church, and there was this one guy. His name was Francisco, Haitian dude. He used to come to church I think it was like Wednesday, Friday for like youth fellowship or some shit. And nigga be running around in circles. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. He running on the floor crying. I'm like, yo, that nigga there got it, boy. I want what he has. And then I went to Club Euro one day, and nigga had a bitch bent over, like, and I'm like, that's the same nigga from Libya. And he went from that on a Sunday to back on Monday, you know, like, hallelujah.
Francisco messed it up for you,
man.
So I can see the perception of that.
I can see the perception. But also, we also have to acknowledge that the fact is, as Christians, it doesn't make you a perfect person. It does not make you like, okay, I'm so much different than you. I'm so much better than you. We're still human beings. We're still like, That's why we're here, because we're like, as Christian, we acknowledge ourselves as sinners, and still Jesus Christ accept me. That's why I have faith and hope.
That's what the pastor said. They be playing with little boys' booty holes, but we're not gonna start that conversation.
Catholic Church.
Hey,
I mean, for me, what I have the biggest problem with, and what I struggle with, is when people are either unreasonable or they're illogical. So when you're either of those things, and that's how you start to condemn people, that's what makes me start getting disrespectful and insulting you or yelling. Now it's like, what you're saying doesn't even make some type of
Bottom
sense.
line, this is my point, which I feel everybody should make. Do not condemn people. Like you said, when you
Right,
start,
never.
Don't tell me you're going to hell because you do this. You're going to wherever because you do this. Because there's probably something you do. Like when they get on gay people or trans people, yo, I told a lie. That's the same. It's all sins. It's not I've had a child out of wedlock. That's a sin too. You know what I mean? So I just feel like we should not condemn people, and when people start to do that, just let people.
Or another thing that I have a problem with some people in any kind of religion is where there's no answer for, they try to make up some weird answer. For example,
dinosaurs.
Hold on.
That's funny.
What happens to babies when they die? Do they go to heaven or hell? And then you start saying, well, they go to hell because of this, or they go to heaven because of. It's like, bro, the real answer is you don't know.
We don't know.
What happens to people in the Amazon who never heard the gospel? Do they go to heaven or do they go to hell? Oh, they go to hell because of this, or they go to heaven because of this. The real answer is you don't know.
Don't know.
That's why you have to preach the gospel to all the nations.
My question is always is, nigga, have you seen anybody who's gone to hell or heaven? So how the fuck are we having a conversation about this fictitious place that doesn't
It's based on faith and hope.
It's a lot of shit based on faith, brother.
Faith and hope.
Faith is a mustard seed, and you can move mountains.
Man, fuck that. I had faith the size of a quarter, and I ain't win the fucking lottery when I thought I was going to. So I want to hear that shit.
What? Because you didn't win the lottery?
I had faith, nigga. The Bible says you have faith the size of a mustard
my
seed.
God, really? That dropped your faith?
I had it the size of a quarter.
Wow.
Well, first of all, you can't conceptualize your faith. You don't know how big your faith is.
That's
one.
That's a good point.
And then two, if we're assuming God exists, he's not a genie. It's like, I want to win the lottery. I need to win the lottery. I need to win the lottery.
That was just a joke, bro.
I'm just letting you know.
Everybody gonna want to win the lottery and be Christian.
So why the fuck everybody
Muslim
can't win
or-
then?
Well, I mean, that's
I
not how
don't
the
know.
world
I didn't
works.
see that in the book of Proverbs.
Well, all right, man. You know what this is? This is the Shameless Goats. Thanks for listening.
All right, see y'all.
Yup.